Time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Hi folks, I'm Sam Lesante and we are on location at the Schuylkill County Courthouse. Folks, I'm doing a series on accountability. Politicians tell you they promise you a lot of things, but are they doing what they said they promised you? As you know, the first series I started with Governor Corbett. He said he was going to not raise taxes, and he didn't. He said he was going to do away with the $4.2 billion debt without raising taxes, and he did it. He said he was going to give education more money. It's the biggest they ever got in the state of Pennsylvania. He said he was going to bring unemployment down. He inherited 8.2 or whatever percentage, and he brought it down under 6%. So the governor said what he was going to promise you, and he did what he said he promised the Commonwealth. Forget being a Republican or Democrat. Today, we are going to talk to Christy Holman, who is the district attorney. She took office January 6, 2014. She promised a lot of things. Let's find out if she fulfilled those promises. And now we're inside the courthouse, folks, and as I said, we're going to be speaking today to Christy Holman and some other people that are working with the DA. When she took office in January 6, 2014, she said she was going to do certain things for the county of Schuylkill. And as I said in the beginning of the program, on the opening, is that we're now looking at accountability, folks. When people tell you they're going to do things, do they really do them? Or do they say things just for your votes? I mentioned about Governor Corbett, what he did. Forget being Republican or Democrat, doesn't make any difference to me, but people are telling you they're going to do certain things. Are they doing them? So this series is going to be accountability for the people who ran for office and ask you for their vote. And so first of all, Christine, thanks again for allowing me to come into your place now. You were in our studio before.
Yes, thank you, Sam, for coming to Schuylkill County.
Well, you said yes, a couple things. You had promised the people in Schuylkill County that you were going to do certain things, okay? So let's talk about some of the things that you said you were going to do, and where are you on those promises?
Certainly. I think my major promise to Schuylkill County was to fight crime, and in fighting crime, fighting blight, fighting the drugs, and keeping the citizens of Schuylkill County protected, the young and the old. And I think today the elder population clearly needs to be educated in how to protect themselves. But let's start with blight. The towns around Schuylkill County, unfortunately, are crumbling, and that shouldn't be. My position has been reaching out to individual property owners, township supervisors, borough council members, asking them what are the specific property problems in their towns and what can we do to fight blight. I have put together a booklet on tips as far as how to fight blight. I have researched the Pennsylvania Crimes Code, specifically the nuisance section, and have been educating some of law enforcement and the council people, township supervisors, that Pennsylvania actually does have blight laws already in place, and here's how you use them. It's very interesting to go to different township meetings, council meetings, and talk with code enforcement officers. And I've had some great feedback. I've had individuals calling me, telling me, thank you for caring. Thank you for coming into our towns and making the individuals that need to be made aware about blight. What is blight? Dilapidated properties. But these dilapidated properties cause a myriad of problems. Drugs, number one. The other promise that I made, of course, was to rid the county of drugs. And I certainly can't do that alone. Local law enforcement, state police have been working fast and furiously every day with the Schuylkill County Drug Task Force and amongst themselves to work at getting heroin and meth out of Schuylkill County. I had some individuals, some assistants come in over the summer, and I did some research. I'm into statistics. We had, since I took office in January up until July 31st, it was roughly 1,070 criminal complaints filed. Out of that 1,070, 55 of those cases dealt in some manner with heroin. I've testified at Senator Gene Yaw's hearings on how heroin is affecting rural counties. There was a summary put out, and one of the enlightening things to me out of the summary was 80% of the heroin and drug problems that we have stems from prescription drug abuse. So the other thing that I've been trying to do is make the public aware of the dangers of prescription medication getting into the wrong hands. And currently, the Senate and the House are looking at passing Senate Bill 1180, which is the prescription drug monitoring program, where doctors will be monitored, individuals will be monitored as far as what type of prescription medications they're using and they're getting, so that they're not getting into the wrong hands. The Schuylkill County Drug Task Force, we've been expanding it. We have contracts that local law enforcement can sign up. I really rely on the locals and the state police in doing a great job that they have been doing in getting some of the drugs out of here. Certainly,
you know, you're addressing all the concerns that you said, but it cannot be done by you alone.
Exactly.
You need a team, and we're going to be talking to some of your team today. When you're working with different people, and this is the thing, is when you have a strong leader, they're able to surround themselves with strong people.
Right.
And I think probably that's one of the things you've been focusing on. Correct?
Exactly, Sam, and I have a great staff. All of my staff, clerical, DUI coordinator, detectives, assistant district attorneys, everyone gives 150% every day, and I'm thankful for that.
In working with the district, you also work with the row officers. So specifically, something happened this year that was unusual, or not usual, something was interesting, was the working with the coroner,
Yes.
Dr. Dave Moylan. And he has certainly upgraded that coroner's office fabulously. What was the coroner's inquest? How did you work with him on that?
Sure. Actually, Sam, I'm proud to report we had two coroner's inquests. The first one dealt with some drugs that, a drug overdose. And how we work the coroner's inquest, it's actually statutory, but what happens is you select 6 jurors, and we impaneled those 6 jurors at Doc's place in New Philadelphia. And I performed a trial. I was the prosecuting attorney. I called witnesses, police, any family members, any lay witnesses that may have been able to shed some light on cause of death. These coroner's inquests are a tool for the police to use to perhaps further investigate, and you never know what may be revealed during these inquests. The second inquest was relatively the same, and it worked very well. The second inquest was, again, an unusual death, an unusual position of an individual who died, and the panel members paid very close attention to all of the evidence that was presented, and Doc Moylan was certainly the biggest asset in me being able to perform the coroner's inquest with his cooperation.
And you know, the interesting thing is the district attorney's office, there's many facets. Okay, we're talking about elder abuse, you're talking about drug abuse, you're talking about blight, you're talking about different things. I don't think, you know, if you have any questions or if you know of anything, they're always looking for input. You may know of things that you can call the district attorney's office, and we'll provide you with that number. Just because sometimes they could give you information that's very important.
Exactly, Sam, and just let me add that one of my programs is Block It Out. And I kind of joke with staff, it's a very minimal operation as far as from the ground up. But I've been preparing window placards that say Block It Out, and there's a number for the Drug Task Force that if anyone has any tips, to please call us, and we're going to try to rid the county of drugs one block at a time.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a challenge, and I congratulate you. Now, we're going to talk to Maria Casey, Dolly, Malec, and the controller, Christy Joy. When we come on, give me a little briefing how these three people are so important to your office.
Yes, invaluable. Maria Casey is my first assistant. She runs the office basically. She takes care of all the administrative responsibilities, who's going to be in court where, scheduling. She also commits herself to the budget, and she'll be able to fill you in on that, but I'm proud to report that the district attorney's office is under budget. And it's kudos, really, to the office and to Maria for her diligence in studying this. Dolly Malec, Chief Detective. Dolly's my right arm. If I have any questions or any problems, Dolly, you know, the path from her office over to mine, it's worn. Mm-hmm. And we're in constant communication about investigations and what has to be done. And we're working as a team with elder abuse. And Dolly can fill you in about that, but elder protection is one of our main goals. Christy Joy, our controller. Christy, you know, reins us in with keeping the budget, and also as far as our spending. Christy's in charge of all of the accounts in the county and does a wonderful job in doing so.
So this cooperation you have, which is interesting, and it's good, so the public understands that there's cooperation with the district attorney's office and with different divisions.
Exactly.
So folks, I'm talking to Christine Holman here. She's a district attorney for Schuylkill County, and the series is accountability, folks. You know, are they accountable? They tell you what they're going to do, and we're going to do a follow-up on all the politicians who have said many different things. And this is not a Democrat or Republican thing, folks. If you're a Democrat, you do a good job, great. If you're a Republican, you do a good job, great. I always say, folks, don't have people tell you who to vote for. Make sure you check qualifications. Look at the mess we are in the country, because people have organizations, and if you're this organization, that organization, vote this way. No, vote for the people that are qualified and promised you and did things. We come back, we're going to talk to Maria Casey, who is the first assistant DA, and Molly Malec, who is the chief detective. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember, 24/7, all of the shows we've done, just go to Sam Lesante Show. You'll see every show that I've done. My email, sam@ssptv.com. We're here at the Schuylkill County Courthouse, and we're talking about accountability. We're at the district attorney's office, and there are many people who work with her. One of these people who work with her is her first assistant, Maria Casey. And Maria, she says you're the budget master, so you take care of finances and do all the schedules, correct?
That is part of my duty, correct.
How do you work with the district attorney in terms of the budgets and your appointments?
Well, Schuylkill County has a zero-based budget, and we had to prepare a budget for next year, which involved going through various categories and then justifying how we would spend money on those categories. I think when we met last time, I told you that we were very focused on controlling the expenditures and, if possible, lessening the expenditures. And I'm glad to report to you, Sam, today that we actually will be under budget in 2015, and that's even with a 3% raise to each of the employees.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, because if you broke even, you're still under budget as far as I'm concerned, because expenses go up every year, like any family's budget. So I think that's kudos to you for doing that. That's very nice, because you're dealing with taxpayers' money.
It is not our checkbook, it's the taxpayer's checkbook, and we're very cognizant of that, and we're trying to make sure that we treat it that way at all times.
Now, you also schedule different things.
Correct.
For Christine, right?
Correct. We handle all the scheduling of hearings. On any given week, there are approximately 40 hearings that occur here in the courthouse, and they range from parole revocations, bail reductions, sentencings, all types of hearings. So in-house, we handle those in addition to preliminary hearings and, of course, trials.
There's a lot that goes on in the courthouse. I mean,
Yes.
there's a lot of things that the public don't really understand, or, excuse me, should understand some of the intricacies that you have to do. So basically, you're on top of the budget, and plus and what else do you do for the district attorney?
We actually handle trials. Christine and I handle trials ourselves. Sometimes on the more complicated trials, the homicide trials, we'll work together or with other ADAs. We do the in-house hearings as well. We'll attend the preliminary hearings on an as-needed basis. We like to have a hands-on approach and actually participate in everything that everyone else does in the office, so we know it from the ground up.
So you could look at the residents of Schuylkill County and say to them that you're fulfilling the job that you promised them to do.
We think so. I think when you and I last met, we were talking to you about the number of vehicles that we had, and we at one point had 12. We were able to get rid of 2 more, and then I'm happy to report as of now we have 4 vehicles.
How do you like the bicycle you're using? You know, Chris, enough's enough. I mean, bicycling up the.
Yeah.
But I hear again. I'm very happy to say that you know the district attorney's office said they were to do certain things, and they accomplished that. Thanks for coming on, Maria.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we're going to talk to the chief detective, Dolly Malec. Dolly, nice to see you again.
Nice seeing you, Sam.
So you have your work cut out for you, right? Some of the things that that you've been involved with is the elder abuse, and you're working with the DA on Dolly's do's and don'ts. Let's briefly tell us about those 2 areas.
Hey, Christy and I are both on the board of the Schuylkill Elder Abuse Prevention Alliance, or better known as SEPA, and also one of the members is Kim Knowles, and she does a little magazine that she brings out, and it's called Lifestyles After 50s. And Christine and I were talking to her and saying, we should be more proactive. We should do things for the elderly to prevent them from becoming victims instead of waiting until they do become victims.
Yes.
So we came up with an idea of Dolly's do's and don'ts. And this time she is going to be doing one. I found out there's a new utility phone scam taking money from the elderly all over the United States and Canada. So I focused in on the do's and don'ts of how to keep becoming a victim of utility scams. And we are going to be continue doing that and finding a different subject every article that she has to do to prevent the crimes. On October 30th, we will be going to Monroe City, and we're going to be doing a financial scams, and Christine and I are both going to be talking at that. And again, like I said, we want to be proactive. Don't wait till they become a victim.
And you're doing a great job, Dolly.
Thank you.
I've been following you. So folks, now we're playing the show a number of times. If you're watching this before the expo, try to get to it. If we're playing this show in November, you could always call the district attorney's office and get information. Educate. We're going to take a break right now. We come back, we're going to talk to the controller. He's the person that has the money here, controlling things going on. Let's see if Christy Joy is doing his job. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. We're on location. Accountability, folks. They tell you they're going to do certain things. Do they really do them? That's why I'm doing this series. Remember when I had Corbett on the show? I questioned him, what did you promise us? Promised the residents of Commonwealth? Did you accomplish them? And he did. Okay, so we followed up on that. Now we have Christy Joy. He is the controller of Schuylkill County. Christy, thanks for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you very much, Sam.
Basically, what does a controller do?
Well, we're the head accountant and head auditor for the county. Okay. And you always say that you want to talk at qualifications. Yeah. Well, I'm a certified public accountant, so I got the accountant side. And for the auditor side, I'm a certified fraud examiner. So I meet the qualifications.
And the reason I say that is because we're bombarded with elections, okay? And when elections come on, everyone's telling everybody we're doing this and I'm the greatest person. And then you have organizations and people say, just they send out letters, vote for this person, vote for. They have no idea who these people are. And the country's in a mess because of that, okay? Thank God that in different areas in Schuylkill and Luzerne County, we have people who are accountable, okay? So your job is to make sure that, that everything's in order, okay?
Right. I'm a check and balance against the commissioners. The commissioners spend the money, and I make sure that what they're doing is legal.
Now, how do you work with the district attorney's office?
Well, the first way I could do is, Christine, when she was first attending office, she came into my office to say, here we are, and here fill out some initial paperwork and stuff like that. And then I had to sit her down and County Code 1702 says that when I find an irregularity, I have to immediately go to the commissioner's office, and I had to go to Christine. And she came in first day, raring to go, big smile, and I had to sit her down and said, look, we have an investigation here right now. I got to bring you in and let her know what was going on. We had a fellow row officer. I found some irregularities in some of his books and some of his payments, and I had to bring in the district attorney to let her know what was going on.
That's a challenge. It's always a challenge. You know, you like to be friends with everybody, but you have to do your job. Absolutely. And that's a good thing. And I said before, you know, you have Christine and you have Maria and you have Dolly and all the people here. You don't interpret their kindness for weakness, because they mean business. And so you had that challenge, right, with the other row officers. How is that going right now?
Well, right now we're coordinating with both the state police, the Auditor General, the FBI, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and we're waiting. They told me the indictments would be coming soon, sometime in the fall, and the leaves are changing, Sam.
In terms of, so you're monitoring it all the time, making sure all the row offices are in line. So as far as, what would be your grade for the district attorney's office?
I think the district attorney's office is doing rather well.
What would be your grade?
Well, if you're going to go with, I think they're definitely an A. Okay. You know, we're going to work to the A+, but I think they're definitely doing great.
Basically, then the DA's office, and forgetting who Christine is, the people who are here are doing the job that they promised to Schuylkill County residents.
Absolutely, and the best thing about it is that we have a well-open relationship where we can come in and talk about the finances, but we could also talk about the problems in the county, and we can get to the bottom of it.
Well, you seem to be a likable person, so I think maybe I'd be able to work with you if I was a county commissioner. And then certainly you have great county commissioners here.
Absolutely.
Folks, I'm here at the Schuylkill County Courthouse. Thanks, Christy, for coming on the show. Talking to the Christine Holman and the District Attorney's Office. Remember, we said accountability, and that's what we're doing. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on the Sam Lesante Show.